It was the 1940s in the United States, and the world was still recovering from the wounds of World War II. In this context of reconstruction and change, within the bohemian corners of Columbia University in New York, a movement began to take shape that would challenge social and literary conventions: the Beat Generation. The protagonists of this story were a group of young writers and artists, including Jack Kerouac, Allen Ginsberg, and William S. Burroughs. United by a sense of discontent with the conservative values of the time and an insatiable thirst for freedom and authentic expression, these individuals would soon become the voices of a generation. Kerouac, who coined the term beat, used it to describe his generation as weary, beatific, and in search of something beyond the routine and materialism of conventional American life. The term beat resonated with multiple meanings, referring to being defeated or down, but also to a state of beatitude and the rhythms of jazz music that deeply influenced the movement. The Beat Generation rebelled against the rigidity of traditional literature. They preferred spontaneous writing, often based on personal experiences, spirituality, and unrestricted wandering. Their style was raw, direct, and devoid of the formalities that characterized the literature of the time. One of the most iconic moments of the movement was the publication of Ginsberg's poem Howl in 1956. This poem, with its raw opening, "I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness," became a manifesto of the disillusionment and rebellion of the young people of the time. The work, due to its explicit content, was the subject of an obscenity trial, which it ultimately won, becoming a symbol of the fight against censorship and for freedom of expression. Jack Kerouac, with his work On the Road, published in 1957, captured the spirit of adventure and spiritual quest of the generation. The book, written on a roll of uncut paper during 3 weeks in a burst of creativity, narrated Kerouac's travels under the alias of Sal Paradise and his friend Neil Casati, Dean Moriarty, across America. It became a classic of literature and a manual for those who longed for a life outside the conventional. Meanwhile, William S. Burroughs, with his work Naked Lunch, explored even further the limits of literature and decency. The novel, a series of intersecting vignettes in a surrealistic and often incoherent style, delved into the world of drugs, sex, and alienation, challenging all literary and social norms. But the Beat Generation was not just about these three men. Figures like Neil Casady, Gregory Corso, and Herbert Hunke, among others, played significant roles. Additionally, although the movement was predominantly male, women like Diane DePrima and Joyce Johnson also contributed their unique voices. Over time, the Beat Generation paved the way for the counterculture of the 1960s and 70s. They influenced the hippie movement, rock music, literature, and art, leaving an indelible mark on Western culture. The Beat Generation was much more than a group of rebellious writers. They were symbols of a search for freedom, authenticity, and meaning in a world that often seemed to offer the opposite. Their legacy continues to live on, inspiring new generations to question, explore, and, above all, to live authentically.